Hey friends, here we are in my breeding hop yard and my plants are starting to grow sidearms. Check it out. Some nice little sidearms here. And I have some plants with huge sidearms. So what do? These big giant sidearms, do I cut them to make the production better? I think I should probably wrap them, right? Just like the main vines. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, friends. Max Raphael here from Hops World. Tip number 18. My hops growing sidearms. What do I do? Let's do it. Hey folks, glad you could be with me today to talk about hop sidearms. I wanted to show you this plant, one of our new varieties that we created 2 years ago from seed. And this bad boy has some branches, I mean literally 5 or 6 feet long. So, should we cut them? Or should we train them to climb up the plant? Well, the short answer is no. 2 reasons. One, if you look, this plant has a lot of foliage up at the top. There's probably 5 vines that went up. It was supposed to only be 2 or 3, got out of hand. And if we trained all these branches to train up the plant, all we would have is leaves at the top of the plant and shade. We have too much as it is. The second reason, probably more important, is if you notice where every pair of leaves are, there is little burrs starting, and burrs turn into cones. So by having more branches, we have more cones, and these branches at times will cascade down, way down on the plant and fill the plant up all the way to the ground, which is what you want. Most hops plants don't grow cones till about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 feet. If you can get cones to the ground, it really helps production. So the short story is you should not cut your sidearms. Now, saying that, I recently saw a farm that was cutting their sidearms. While I tell you about this, I'm going to walk around and show you. Most of these plants, 90% of them are all new varieties, either made this year or last year. And the difference in genetics and the size of the sidearms. For example, this plant right here already has a cone and some burrs, and it only has sidearms about 4 or 6 inches long. So genetics has a lot to do with it. But going back to cutting the sidearms, I have seen in the past a couple of people mention that they cut their sidearms to help the growth grow up the plant. But for me, I like sidearms. We have a problem growing sidearms down in Brazil because of photoperiod, so the plants with the longer sidearms definitely give us more yield. This plant here, if you notice, has lots of sidearms, way down to about 4 or 5 feet off the ground, which is good. The plant next to it has some big long sidearms that's already burrowing, both of these, but the sidearms stop about 8 feet off the ground. So genetics plays a big part. If you look at this plant, barely any sidearms, a couple when you get to the top. And then this monster almost looks like a hairy Medusa with the 5-foot sidearms coming off it. Our monster. So we don't cut any of the sidearms, and it really helps our production, folks. Well, thanks for being with me, folks, and there you have it. Leave them sidearms alone. If you liked the tip, put a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, folks. Cheers to life.